what we see isn't always the reality. This is especially true for virtual YouTubers, as their jobs are literally to play a role in the virtual world that is social media, an entertainment about a virtual icon that performs and or interacts with the audience. At least, this is what VTuber was defined as, and till this day, this still holds true for all VTubers, even though the form of presentation and the medium are much more varied than the past. For those of you who have not been familiar with Kizuna Ai, she was the one at the top of the 5 VTubers that was being called the 4 Kings or the 4 Giants of VTubers, for their contribution and the impacts of the early VTuber scene. She was the one that created and defined the initial definition of the word VTubers, and it was she that brought this trend to the YouTube scene back in early 2017. It was an old time where competitions were sparse, and being the first and most well-known VTubers, she naturally gained thousands if not millions of views. Kizuna Ai was the first VTuber to reach 1 million and 2 million subs. She was a staple in the VTuber scene, and in the present day is still being regarded as the mother of all VTubers. So what has changed through time that made Kizuna Ai become the one that no one talks about? Besides the general revolution of the scene, there was something more to it, and you might have guessed it already. Kizuna Ai's fall was no coincidence, but rather a combination of change in the scene, people's perception shift, and a chain of incidents. The outcome of these incidents has given all VTuber companies a warning of what not to do in the future, and the resulting impact was so big, it has challenged the foundations that our perception towards VTubers were built upon. Welcome to the world of VTuber stunts, and this time, we will be taking a look at the legacy, or rather the downfall, of the one and only Kizuna Ai. Early 2017, like many other places, the Japanese region of YouTube was still dominated by a few so-called family-friendly YouTubers, for example Hajime Shacho and Hikakin TV. They primarily make wacky YouTube videos of them doing kinda dumb things. There wasn't a lack thereof of anime content, but rather it was still kind of a circle jerk in the grand scheme of things. And the old stereotype of anime also present. Technically, the first YouTuber that fits the VTuber definition was Amy Yamato, where she shoots vlogs and other stuff as a virtual 3D character in real life. She created the channel back in 2011, and we can see how a lot of Kizuna Ai's ideas were borrowed or inspired from. It shot videos of her doing random stuff, but it's now an anime character in a virtual environment. Most of Kizuna Ai's early videos are in fact short videos of her doing random stuff, and those are also the ones that blew up and became one of her most viewed videos. Kizuna Ai then follows the trend of gaming videos and uploaded videos of herself playing games. Later down the road, she created a second channel that only puts up videos of her gaming. That channel also passes 1 million subs. What a gamer. An important aspect about her character is the self-claims of her being an artificial intelligence. As shown in a lot of her videos, this is obviously not true, but being repeatedly emphasized in her videos to the point where it becomes a running joke. The more A than I has become one of her strongest character traits that we can see. There were a lot of other character traits that she built up in the years to help herself to be more appealing to the public. For example, being a couch potato, and is bad at sports, caring about her fans, etc., just to name a few. The point being, she was the VTuber at the time, and it was all the rage back in early 2018. How Kizuna Ai and other VTubers popped out of the small market and successfully attracted a bigger audience. can be attributed to how they marketed themselves as. The most common theme among all are they are idols, but the less restrictive and closer to the audience ones. In one of the interviews with Kizuna Ai's company Activ8 CEO Takeshi Osaka back in late 2018, he pointed out that virtual talent's biggest strength is that they have no restrictions. This premise still holds true for nowadays VTuber scene, at least in most cases. In another interview, Takeshi has spoken about what Kizuna Ai project was all about.
The respect from people all over the world for Japanese anime, manga, and gaming content is amazing. I realized that these are some valuable aspects that the environment of Japan has buried. There are a lot of people in this world who are influenced by Japanese anime and manga, and have a longing for it. When I felt that, I thought, if you want to fight on the world stage, this is it. Fortunately, there are many excellent creators in Japan, so I thought there was still room for us. In the entertainment industry, the company that has the character, in other words the IP, has overwhelming power in the industry from a structural level. Because I was doing it, I realized that, having an IP by ourselves was essential on a world level. Some foreign influencers shared Kizuna Ai's videos on social media. That's where we became one of the top 5 YouTuber who gained the most subscribers every week. Some fans voluntarily added subtitles with their own language in the video. The fact that there were people who contributed to the promotion of the videos helped us reach all over the world. At that time, 90% of the fans were from overseas. Virtual YouTuber will be popular in Japan a little later, but until then, overseas fans were what supported us the most.
Here, we can see how the Kizuna Ai team sees the world of VTubers. To them, it is more than just some wacky promotions of anime girls doing anime stuff, but rather, is an embodiment of what the Japanese anime industry has become. The face of anime, I would say. The outgoing nature of the anime really shows with this new form of entertainment. As shown from his own words, 90% of the subscribers were in fact overseas foreigners. There truly was a lot of respect from people all around the world. He also talks about how Kizuna Ai has broken the barrier of the stereotypes of anime and idol content, and what they envisioned.
And usually, virtual idols sing mainly anime songs, but I want not only to appeal to anime fans, but also to fans all over the world. So I dare not to only do anime songs, but popular dance music in the world as well. We are also actively challenging such stereotypes. At the end of last year, we held a real live show. Unlike other virtual idols, you can actually do MCs on the stage, and you can also do calls and response, which is different in terms of experience when compared to other virtual idols. In addition, it is important to value what can only be demonstrated by virtual talents. Most of the videos of virtual talent are already shot in VR. For example, in the world of VR, we can manufacture virtual products then make them real. It's like doing a business from the virtual world to the real world by bringing it to YouTube, the world, then doing business. So even if VR devices don't spread, VR will still become a new form of business. And in the future, as VR devices become more widespread, it will be possible to provide experience that cannot be demonstrated by human talents. I think that it is virtual talent that arouses the strong need to go to VR. Fans usually meet their idols in different places, even in mountains or some faraway places. VR gives people who don't like going out a big convenience. Virtual talents will definitely be the main key for getting popular. The VR space is the stage where virtual talent shines the most. We want to create an ecosystem that creates talents and content in the virtual world, like a virtual Hollywood. To become a next-generation IP company like Disney that can compete on the world stage. That's Activ8.
This short interview encapsulates what the Activ8 team envisions in the future of the VTuber scene very well. Not only for people who don't like to go outside. With the unexpected emergencies that is COVID-19, the world being forced to stay home, the virtual stage has become their biggest entertainment to enjoy when the world collapses. To break through the gap between reality and virtual, to be what artists can be. This is what VTubers to them are all about. what a appreciable fault. Being the leading trainer of VTuber, Takeshi and his team definitely have the vision to do so, and it pays off. With well over 2 million subs now, Kizuna Ai is still the biggest VTuber in terms of popularity, albeit not the most profited. Still, there's no denial on how Kizuna Ai and Takeshi's team helped build such a big scene to what it now becomes. However, with such a great start and an appreciable idea, you might think Kizuna Ai will still be the biggest VTubers today. It's not out of the realm of possibilities, but if there's one thing we learn from the YouTube scene in general, and that is, things change. For Kizuna Ai and other old age VTubers, they can't keep up with the changing scene, and thus their downfall. So what has changed? Well, let's talk about it. Things change. This is how the universe works. You can't just stick to something forever. By doing so, you're just isolating yourself from the ever-changing world. The same premise can also be said for the VTuber scene, where VTubers scramble to keep up with the current trend. How VTubers can adapt to the changing scene directly ties to how well they can survive in the competitive world. There are a lot of great examples of VTubers who successfully adapted to the changing trends and rides on top of the tides, becoming a big VTuber. There are also VTubers who failed to adapt to the change and are now left in the corner, forgotten by most of us. This is especially true for the old age VTubers, where if they need to survive in the new age of VTubers, they must adapt and overcome what comes next. Unfortunately, a lot of them failed to do so. Kizuna Ai did great for a lot of her time, but unfortunately, the scene has changed so much that a normal vlogging style VTubers such as Kizuna Ai do not fare well in this scene, and the failed attempt of her team trying to catch up with the scene made her left out from the current leading pack. So what's changed exactly? First, it is the revolution that leads to the VTuber scene in general from mostly doing video tubing stuff to streaming. This can be attributed to the rise of the streaming VTuber groups, in which the biggest was obviously Nijisanji, and especially their first lineup of 8 VTubers, and the one who leads the streaming scene at the time. It's obviously the god, the legend, and the crazy woman herself, Tsukino Mito. She brought the whole scene from normal video tubing and idol marketing to a completely new place that is relatability and variety with her power. Nijisanji, being a small company, was not expecting to be this successful. Tsukino Mito and other VTubers from Nijisanji have brought the scene to what we now know. However, as the scene leaning towards streaming, it also challenges the old VTubers to adapt to the new trends, and Kizuna Ai also faces the same problem. She, being the biggest VTuber at the time, changing the form of channel might cause fans that are attracted to her because of her presentation format leave because of the change. Nonetheless, she did try to stream, but from the results, it was less than adequate to be called successful. The burden of her character traits have forced her to not give up the format that is video tubing, and this caused her growth in 2019. Besides her character traits, how she failed at adapting can also be attributed to her audience type. A lot of her audiences were subscribed because of her short videos or vlogs, not because of her streams. The sudden shift of video tubing to streaming will definitely repel some of the fans to be less focused onto her. Moreover, since most of her fans were not built upon streams, which means much more fans are inactive, meaning they will be less available when Kizuna streams, therefore causing less than optimal outcome. Second of which, is that it is the general shift of the audience interest. In other words, the active audience wants something more than what they currently have. In my opinion, this does not fare well with Kizuna Ai and other VTubers at all, as this calls for a direct change in the style, and like I mentioned above, this can also often cause less optimal outcome. Ironically, not doing anything will also cause less optimal outcome, as the active audience will shift towards a VTuber new in style compared to her. This is hard to solve, and from the looks of it, Kizuna Ai did not deal with this well indeed. We can't blame Kizuna Ai's team for not solving this, as the general shift of the scene goes against what Kizuna Ai was built upon. Unfortunately, Kizuna Ai and other old-style VTubers have fallen into the gap and are not coming back onto the top of the scene very soon. We did see some changes from the Kizuna Ai team to try to catch up with the scene, for example with the Black Eye, ASMR videos, VTuber collabs, etc. But in hindsight, all of which are just failed attempts converting the channel's original identity into something new that the audience accepts. And as we now know it, the power of the nature of change has disqualified Kizuna Ai and left her on the bench since the start of 2019. Unfortunately, there's nothing she can do. The general shift of the scene is destined to happen, and those who can't follow the change will only be left in the dark. However, besides the changing scene, there's something more about Kizuna Ai's downfall. Remember what I said in the introduction? Kizuna Ai's fall was not a coincidence, but rather a combination of change in the scene, people's perception shift, and the chain of incidents. And now, we are going to talk about the straw that really broke the camel's back. What actually happened to her and her team. The changing scene forces Kizuna Ai and her team to make changes. You can't keep doing the same thing and still be relevant to the scene after all. Maybe seeing the dwindling numbers, in dire straits of falling out of relevance, Kizuna Ai's team have pushed out a new project to try and save the channel's subs. It was the 25th of May. It's a beautiful day outside. Birds are singing, flowers are blooming. On days like these, people like you should be enjoying VTubers, and there's no exception for the Kizuna Ai fans. However, on that day, Kizuna Ai posted a video titled "If I Say There Is 3 Kizuna Ais, Will You Believe Me?", where she introduces other doppelgangers of hers. Swiftly, in the coming few days, videos featuring her doppelgangers started to arise. However, the physical appearance of the other Kizuna Ais are literally the same with the original Kizuna Ai, with no observable change to differentiate them whatsoever. For clarity's sake, we will be cloning the first doppelganger Love Chan, the second doppelganger IP, and the later appearing third Chinese doppelganger Chinese Ai, for the reasons that I will disclose later. Such changes naturally attracts discussion. The public reactions were kinda surprised at the time, with mixed and confused reactions to this kind of change. Some have judged how the 4 Kizuna Ai project can contribute to the development of the channel, while some have speculated that this project is an attempt to secretly replace the original Kizuna Ai. However, people in general are still pretty supportive towards the change, albeit the strangeness and some potential problems. On 9th of June, an internet user, Dodon Kozai, posted an essay talking about the 4 Kizuna Ai project. In short, the essay claims that most of the original staff in the Kizuna Ai team have been restructured, alongside with massive layoffs, due to Yuichi Soejima, the new chairman of the company, with only Takeshi left in the team. In the essay, he also claims that there will be a new Chinese Kizuna Ai. The essay overall is pretty provocative and made a lot of unfalsifiable claims. People saw this as just another fake essay that grabs onto the popular topic that is the For Kizuna Ai project to gain clicks and views. On 27th of June, Kizuna Ai posted in a channel member community post indirectly addressing the situation. In the post, she stated that the project is her idea, where she wanted to try something new. She also stated that "we are me," which sparked a lot of discussion. Nonetheless, on 30th of June, Kizuna Ai started her birthday celebration campaign. In the meantime, they pushed a new Kizuna Ai, nicknamed the Chinese Ai, into the Chinese, which is Bilibili market. At that point, all Kizuna Ai's doppelganger has appeared, and the For Kizuna Ai project had officially started. On 11th of July, a strange thing happens. Without prior notice, IP did a gaming video about a Mario map that was made by fans for the OG Kizuna Ai. This provoked some of the fans that supported the OG Kizuna Ai, as they saw the video and the fact that IP plays the role that was supposedly played by the OG Kizuna Ai was a statement that Kizuna Ai was replaceable. However, besides some of the fans, most people were still not too bothered about the situation, and they thought this was only an isolated case. What they didn't know was at that point forward, the situation only goes downhill. What happens? Why don't we take a look? What does VTuber mean to you? Is it just an virtual icon that entertains you, like many other YouTubers or streamers? Or do you feel like they have a special relationship to you, like a friend or an idol you look up to? The core values of VTubers depend on what the audience thinks they are. In my video about the Game Club project, I pointed out that the definition of VTubers are defined by the public. This shows how the public plays an important role in the development of VTubers, as VTubers' worth are dependent on the audiences, like many other entertainment industries. This also applies for the Kizuna Ai situation. Let me ask you a question. What if the VTuber herself denies and pushes out a concept that fundamentally defies what the audience defines as? Is this really the original VTuber that you guys think are anymore? Or is it just another VTuber? After the video on the 11th of July, the OG Kizuna Ai saw less and less participation in the channel, and what substituted it was the Doppelgangers. On 24th of July, a video was uploaded to the main channel, however only featuring the Doppelgangers, not the OG Kizuna Ai. People at this point started to realize the situation. Then, on 26th of July, IP held the first stream on the main channel. This is the first stream that does not feature the OG Kizuna Ai. Then, on the same day, the alleged original Kizuna Ai's actress, Nozomi Kasuga, posted a tweet, and from that point forward, fans started to rage. In the tweet, she said that she don't want to lose to adults and stupid people, and wanted to protect the contents that was hers.
I don't want to lose to adults and stupid people. I don't want to be supplanted, and I also don't want to be the same as them. Believe your eyes and perception. Even though you can't always make the right decisions, I still believe that things that I put effort in will not disappear. I want to protect myself and the content. I will work harder. Yeah.
Even though Activ8 did not officially recognize Nozomi as the actress of the original Kizuna Ai, people after comparing her voice pattern in some past tweets content have confirmed her role as the actress and started to dig around. In some of her past tweets, she had indirectly complained about her work and has stated that she wants to work harder within her ability. On 28th of July, Mr. Yuichi posted a Facebook post, without naming anyone, criticized one of his staff. Although this has been pointed out by some other internet users to be not aimed towards Nozomi, however, it still sparked a lot of discussion. People were outraged towards the company, especially Yuichi and Takeshi, to replace the soul of Kizuna Ai without prior notice and have rubbed this as a so-called challenge towards oneself. At this point, the rage towards the company had reached its boiling point. People were scolding the company from left to right and requested an official response. On 30th of July, which was Kizuna Ai's birthday, the celebration video had its comments turned off. Things gotta be real tough when you need to close your video comments. Even though later on 8th of August, Activ8 released a statement, claiming that the closed comment section was just a problem of the cache and was an error from YouTube. The statement was questionable in itself, and people were highly doubting Activ8 or trying to exercise speech control. However, in the statement, they also stated that Yuichi was not the leader and the mastermind behind the full Kizuna Ai project. People had serious doubt the statement, and they were still angry towards Yuichi. A lot of the people were doubting the intentions of Yuichi, Takeshi, and the team. They were speculating that they were just devaluating the soul of VTubers and undermining the effort of them to the point where it was just merely a replaceable product, just like what the Black Corp's boss would say. The IP was more important than what the VTuber was valued by the audience, right? This mindset was further proven in one of the discussion streams about VTubers. Takeshi was originally going to attend the stream, however had suddenly stated that he would not be attending due to health concerns. However, during the stream, when talking about the question of the audience likes the soul of the VTuber more than the VTuber's image, a representative from a multimedia entertainment company, Kaiyo, have stated his objection to this statement and pointed out that even though the Game Cup project's incident happens, they did relatively well. Hirota, an editor and a representative of Panera, a famous VR-focused media entertainment company, have stated his agreement on Activ8's reaction, stating that Kizuna Ai is Kizuna Ai, not her soul, and she showed a perfect example on how the industry can deal with the problem of VTubers and their souls. From these, we can indirectly assume how a lot of companies in the industry at the time were thinking of, which was their mindset of IP bigger than everything. Big capitalist energy right there. Nonetheless, the damage has been done, and it has reached a point of no return. Activ8 showed no signs of regret either. On 10th of August, the main channel had started exercising speech controls, with words such as A8, Activ8, Nozomi Kasuga, and its kanji had censored. And to make the matters worse, on 14th of August, an alleged actress of the Chinese Eye, Sharia, have posted on Bilibili, quote, "Those internet bullies who sabotage other streams were just the same as the guy who burns Kyoani." This statement have provoked the original Kizuna Ai fans from Bilibili, and 2 days later, the screenshot was posted onto a Japanese website, and the Japanese fans also started to scold her. There even was a rumor where Leah gained her position via casting coach, which was just absurd. This showed how people were really enraged to the point where they started personally attacking people. And turns out Leah was not even the actress of the Chinese Kizuna Ai. Well, the internet never changes. On the same day, Takeshi representing Activ8 posted a statement on Bilibili only, through non-official means. The statement was basically commercial nonsense. However, he did refer to Kizuna Ai's actress as voice model, which although fits in line with the character settings of Kizuna Ai and the mindset I mentioned before. However, from the fans' eyes, he was undermining the effort the soul of Kizuna Ai was making. This also reminds people of the Game Club project and its so-called VTuber joke. Moreover, since he only posted this statement through non-official means, not on official accounts such as Twitter and Weibo, and only on the Bilibili platform, not on other platforms such as YouTube and Twitter, really showed how he was trying to downplay the matter. Later on September, the Chinese Eye channel on Bilibili have posted a video. In the video, she not only marks Taiwan as a province of China, and marking islands that China and Japan have disputed of as Chinese territory, while also shouting Chinese Taiwan let's go, stepping on the nerves of Taiwanese and some Japanese fans, and sparked protests such as boycotting her. Needless to say, this did not help the situation at all. Either way, the situation continued for many days. The subs of the channels were dropping, and the company/audience relationship was still very tense. Videos were being posted with or without the OG Kizuna Ai, and people were still enraged about their actions. Later in an interview on 16th of September, Takeshi expressed his point of view on the matter of why VTubers were still popular in other places, such as China, even though they still speak Japanese. He pointed out that although most of the audience does not understand the language the VTuber is speaking, they demanded to enjoy the original content, which he thinks was a good chance to introduce Japanese-based VTubers to other regions. He also stressed the fact that Kizuna Ai has no actor. This, alongside with other statements he made prior, had provoked the community again. Things can't get much worse for him and his team. You might be wondering then how Kizuna Ai had recovered from this incident. Well, you see, consistent public pressure is the key. In this case, the public pressure was coming from the fans, especially those who are extremely provocative and enduring at doing things they think are justice, such as pressuring and harassing people, even though sometimes they are just doing more harm than good. So let's see how Activ8 responded under such huge pressure. On 1st of October, some Japanese on Twitter posted a tweet announcing his plan to assassinate Takeshi. His tweet was swiftly deleted, and Activ8 had posted a statement about this. I do like how they were quick at dealing with life-threatening situations, but I still dislike the fact that they were still pretty much silent about the matter of the full Kizuna Ai project and the criticisms that followed. After all, in a sense, they were taking the life of a VTuber. However, on the same day, we finally saw some actions from the Activ8 side. Yuichi posted a statement on Facebook addressing some of the concerns and rumors that he had in the past few days.
Long time no see everyone. There were rumors and fake news about me, so I have stopped posting for a while. Normally I am the type who would be more likely to speak out as the situation grows. However, since this has affected my family, my company, my employees and related personnel's reputation, before I start to post like usual, I would like to address the following 2 points. 1. Regarding the rumors of me living with a lover voice actress. 2. Regarding the rumor of Yuichi replacing the original Activ8 CEO. Because there were incidents where statements were being maliciously translated into other meanings, especially Chinese, and had helped the spread of fake news and rumors, I would like to address this in both Chinese and Japanese. First, regarding the rumors of me living with a lover voice actress. The context of the rumor was there was a translation employee from Activ8 that had lived with me, and was my lover. This is not true. I want my wife to learn by herself, so I found a female employee member that can do this job. The employee was approved by the company, and the reason I had chosen her was because she was the most fluent in Japanese. There was a SNS photo of this employee on the internet, where in the photo there was a pet cat that was mine, therefore there were rumors about me living with her, with this photo as evidence. However, the truth is I am living with my wife, and my 2 cats. Not other people. Second, regarding the rumor of Yuichi replacing the original Activ8 CEO. The context of the rumor was me replacing the original CEO to be the new CEO of Activ8. This is not true. First off, my position was the chairman, not CEO. I am not holding any stocks. The one who holds most of the stocks is still the CEO Takeshi Osaka. Regarding the incident where I fired employees from the early phase of Activ8, the names you guys saw on the internet were employees that I barely or never met. I have no control over their contracts and their existence in the company. As a company who received large amounts of financing from external sources, the rumor of someday someone suddenly taking over the control of the company was just absurd. People who know me will sometimes joke with me. If some of my friends saw the fake news and have any doubt on my personality, this will be my problem and responsibility. There were two reasons for why I regularly post my thoughts about companies, money, and management. Work style: I manage multiple companies. To avoid being accused of a hypocrite, I always post my thoughts online. Attitude: if I got something wrong, I can be castigated by more people. After this, I will still be the same, not be afraid of misinterpretation and speak as usual. Please continue to take care of me. I understood thoroughly on this matter. Because I was mentally prepared, I was calm, but the reactions surrounding me, especially the response from my family members, were troublesome. If the elderlies knew that their daughter and her husband were discussing gossip news about him, they would surely be surprised. To elderlies who don't read internet news, the younger generations were their only source. Although I have received absurd comments such as "it's your own fault," however, I know that transference of hate to the operating company and fake news are hard to prevent. Life is hard.
Here, compared to the statement from the game club incident, this statement was more carefully constructed, and we can kinda see his effort. He really was trying to do his best. Maybe we were just wrong all along. We were misled by the fake news and rumors, and he was the only good guy that cares the company and the Kizuna Ai project. Or is it? Here's what I can see. First, let's look at the crux of the statement, to address the fake news surrounding him. This is appreciable, as people can be misinformed by these, and these can even be weaponized to attack someone, which can seriously affect one's life. However, in this case, this did not contribute to the whole matter greatly. In fact, this did not help the situation at all, if that was what he wants from this post. These rumors were not born from other people who try to destroy your company. Do keep in mind that I can't deny there might be people who have this intent, but were from people who distrust you as a chairman of the company. Most of the people who were scolding Yuichi, Takeshi, and even the Kizuna Ai team wanted a direct response to why the VTuber have to experience changes that they don't want to. If Yuichi in the first place had speak up as the situation grows, addressed the criticism of the full Kizuna Ai project, and had acted accordingly, he might not be in situations like this. Moreover, people also distrust him and Takeshi's belief on the Kizuna Ai project, or even the VTuber industry in general, where they have dislocated themselves from what the audience actually wants, and them being the leading guys, they have to pay the price for misjudging the audience. This leads to my next point. Why the late response? This was over 3 months after the start of this project. There were a lot of criticisms regarding this, and yet from the response, or the lack thereof, they seemed to not care. And until the point where people started to attack his family or related personnel, he finally speaks for himself. This is irresponsible for the mess that he made, even if it was partial. Finally, in the statement, he repeatedly used anecdotes to try and spark compassion from the audience. For example, he stated that friends that know him will joke with him and not believe those rumors. Well, it's not only your friends, but rather the public were joking on you. This is a joke and I'm sorry, but my point is, people don't know and don't care how you or your family is doing. They see you through your actions. And if you have done something bad and then say, "Oh hey, sorry, but I'm a good citizen, my friends think I'm funny and good person," to the officers and judges to try to justify your bad acts via appealing to motive. Will they listen to you? The same can be said for the incident, where instead of real-life police and judges, it was the internet to be the judge. They judged him through his actions, and from the lack of response and from statements published by Takeshi and other staffs in the company, I don't think this argument fares well to him. After this pseudo-official statement, there was still no actual official response in regards to the situation. On 24th of October, Takeshi started to block users that opposed the Kizuna Ai project and started mass liking the project supporters and all affirming Weeb's tweets. On 11th of November, Kizuna Ai published a section of an interview she, or rather her team, did. I can't seem to find original shots, only pictures of the text on the interview. In the interview, she stated that there were VTubers who were directly born from the virtual world, and there were also VTubers who were played by actors, and they were given their soul by their actors. If the life of the actor has ended, then the life of the VTuber will also be ended. No matter if it is existing in the virtual and real world, they still have a soul. The denial of the existence of a soul was surely heartbreaking. This is what I think the first time ever that Kizuna Ai officially acknowledged the fans' stance, if the interview was true, of course. However, after half a month, things finally starting to change. On 30th of November, Kizuna Ai officially announced its new changes to the project, where they not only imported a feedback system for the fans to provide feedback, while also made some new changes to the Kizuna Ai project, which includes 1. Transferring the full operational rights of the Chinese Ai to the VIII studio located in China. 2nd, naming the 2nd and 3rd Kizuna Ai as Kyuri and Suki B, and giving them model a blue hashtag and an orange star hair clip to differentiate between them and the original Kizuna Ai. Last but not least, later via enlisting publicly, have got the 2nd Ai the nickname North Chan, and the 3rd Ai IP, and the Chinese Ai Ge. Some solid changes that finally appease to the fans. Things are looking good, and fans can finally rest peacefully. Since the announcement of the change, several changes have been made down the road. On 24th of April 2020, there was a big announcement in which the team announced that Kizuna Ai will be transferred to a new subsidiary company called Kizuna Ai Inc, where a staff from the mother company, Activ8, will be the nominal chairman. They have revealed the actress of Kizuna Ai, which we all know is Nozomi Kasuga. Just a matter of being recognized officially by the company or not. They also allowed Nozomi to be the head advisor of the company. Takeshi at the same time also posted a Twitter thread stating that it was his fault to let the fans of Kizuna Ai to be worried and disappointed, and will take full responsibility. I appreciate him finally taking responsibility and trying to make changes that can help ease the situation. Shortly after, on 30th of April, the Kizuna Ai team announced their departure from the Update project. For those who have no idea, the Update project was a project that Activ8 introduced to provide non-monetary support to all talents that have signed up. The service they provide includes technical on planning, producing, promoting, contact support for TV shows, collaborations, big events, and consultation for intellectual properties and legal problems. At least this is what they claim to do. The project had been criticized by the public to just a hollow shell and provides no actual support whatsoever, while asking for people to bind it to them since the project had started. Besides the starting talents that was Kizuna Ai, there were also a few talents joined. However, as we can see, Activ8 has provided almost little to no support and promotion for the signed talents. It was not even mentioned for a very long time. In fact, it has a 6-month gap before some other talents joined. There were a total of 12 talents joined. However, half of them left. One of the remains even retired. This gives up a fight of an all-around poor project, and to no one's surprise, this will be shut down on the last day of this year, 2020. What a shame. However, I'm still glad that they finally got rid of it. On 8th of May, the Kizuna Ai team announced that Love Chan and IP will not be under Kizuna Ai's name anymore, but rather have their new channel and also their new Twitter account. 1 month later, on 30th of June, they have announced a new live 2D character model for them to replace the original model, and will start to work on their 3D model. However, the Chinese Ai will still be kept under Kizuna Ai's name, which I suspect was because they have transferred the rights to the Chinese studio and have no control on whether or not they can use Kizuna Ai's name. Or maybe they have other plans. This should not hurt the original Kizuna Ai too much, since the Chinese Ai's primary activities are on the Bilibili platform. On 11th of May, the Kizuna Ai Inc. was finally founded, and Kizuna Ai was officially departed from the mother company Activ8. On 15th of June, Love Chan and IP used their new model to stream, and thus, finally, the Floyd Kizuna Ai project and the uproar brought by it were finally settled, and the company have promised to provide better transparency, albeit still haven't officially responded to all the questions that the fans have in regard to this incident. It was a big mess. It spanned across for a year, and it was the biggest deal at the time. Probably made thousands of fans leave the VTuber scene and have caused some long-lasting effect. Why don't we take a closer look at why and how the incident has caused so much chaos? What we see isn't always the reality, or at least some guy wanted us to believe in so. Is it us that were wrong all along, or is it just them trying to manipulate us into thinking the things that are not true? Kinda like a conspiracy theory, yeah? The general public recognizes VTubers as a form of the entertainment of live performance through a virtual representation. This can usually be done by actors playing the character in real time or in the video. But the virtual icon itself can also be puppeteered. If you have noticed, however, for whatever kinds of VTubers, there will always be an actor behind it, or what some call the soul. Some might say it's just merely like anime, where someone plays a role that was predefined by the people behind it. I disagree, as there are much more to VTubers for the audience than it is anime. It's rather a combination of the character inside and outside the mask that was between the real-life actor and us as the audience through the screen. The character traits of VTubers are, in fact, shaped by the actors behind the VTuber mask. You can't just deny the fact that actors exist, in which case you're just undermining the effort the actors made to bring the VTubers appeal to the virtual world of YouTube. A bit professional have said it better.
In other words, the users of Hatsune Miku are the creative users who are also the creators. Within the community, a variety of Hatsune Miku has been created, and the community as a whole has accepted and supported this unique place and space, and this has become the world in which Hatsune Miku lives. However, for Kizuna Ai, which has its own personality, such diversity has not been accepted so far. As is the case with fans of popular idol groups, it is unlikely that a new idol who calls herself Mai Shiraishi will be allowed to join the Nijizuka 46 group. The reason is that Mai Shiraishi is her unique name, her one and only. Fans of Hatsune Miku become their own narrators and create their own Hatsune Miku. Each becomes a parent and supports each other's children. Therefore, we can easily accept the performances of various Hatsune Miku with different facial expressions and body shapes. On the other hand, Kizuna AI fan users support her as a unique existence. Even if the appearance is the same, when the human being inside changes, it is no longer the VTuber herself. This is probably why the aforementioned Kizuna AI video was controversial among the fans.
The thing about VTuber is, it is as real as you can imagine. VTubers are not what some claim to be, an AI or whatever. Like I mentioned before, what a VTuber truly is the combination of the VTuber itself and the audience. This comes down to the nature of such a type of social media entertainment industry, where the creator, or as we can call it, the entertainer, have its values and identity rest on the audience side. Kizuna Ai is Kizuna Ai because this is what we think it is. Some of the other VTubers in Hololive or Nijisanji or whatever other individual and company operated VTuber, it's all the same. The VTubers themselves can't just deny what their value is, and if you want to do so, prepare to pay the cost. This is what happens to the Game Club project and now the Kizuna Ai project. They don't understand what the core value of a VTuber is. They try to deny or even destroy it for one's own, and they risk losing all their reputations. They challenge the perception of the audience to question what was the true meaning and definition of a VTuber. I mentioned in my Game Club Projects video, it's the audience and the actors behind the VTubers that defines it, not the company. From the aforementioned interview done with Takeshi, we can have a glimpse of what they think of VTuber as an intellectual property that can bring them lucrative money, instead of a piece of work that was done by people behind the character. They don't understand why people would care or even love the person behind that mask, and they think people would care much more for the mask than the actor, just like anime. And from this perspective, we can see why they think changing the actress is a non-problem, since they don't even think the actors are as important in the first place. The intellectual property that the mask and the name of the mask brings in are so much more important. This is where the clash of perception between us, the ordinary audience of VTubers, and them, the businessmen, begins. I don't think Takeshi are the real devil here, it's just the status quo. They are businessmen, and all they want to do is to make money. Then, we can also see why they started to systematically exploit staff, because they are not important. Infinite exploitation, people coming in and leaving, or are justified well within the scope of profit. Why are these happening, even though we know that it isn't right? Well, welcome to the age of social media, where some of these goes virtual. Business ethics problems has been more or less what a lot of people are talking about when you talk about the working environment in Japan, as they have one of, if not the most severe problems, of company not complying regulations. And to make the matters worse, there often are companies that were overlooked even after their employees or former employees have pointed out the issue. However, as the younger generations were being more educated, they tend to deviate from the path of traditional Japanese thinking, rejecting the outdated thoughts that should not be possessed by a normal modern human being. When discussing business ethics in the new age of social media, as the amount of information we approach increases, things we need to consider about also increases. And this is where ethical problems came in, as things such as apprehensions and informal conversations are often keys to bad practices that can lead to the fall of your company image, with or without you knowing. I have approached this topic in more detail before in my video about the Game Club project, so if you are really interested, please take a look at it. Motoyasu Miyawaki, the CEO/president of the startup company Unison Live that focuses on VTuber singer productions, posted a barrage of tweets on 6th and 7th of February, pointing directly at his capital Gumi as the primary suspect for introducing bad ethical practices to the scene. The tweets were then being reported by the public and then deleted by Twitter. However, most of them were screenshotted and even posted on other websites. The following were my take on reconstructing the timeline via different screenshots that were all over the place.
I want to talk about the dark sides of company-operated VTubers. How can some corporate VTubers be heavily influenced by an investment company? Also, how can there be complaints about the company's own staffing changes? An investment firm said that, to reduce cost for better preparation of the next 5G viral wave hitting the market, can you guys fire the actors of the VTubers? 3D models are the standard for company image. As for the actors, they can be swapped indefinitely, isn't it? This is what an investment firm which invested in multiple VTuber companies have said. With such inadequate knowledge about the scene, it's understandable why people were outraged about the staffing changes. There were also talks such as, I heard that Kafu can record 7 songs in one day. Do the same for me, 2 songs a day is maximum. Well, that's strange. Kafu can do much more, just straight up can't communicate. Requesting us based on requirements that were built on rumors were just ridiculous. Lots of bad stuff. Telling them the truth, they will get angry about the cost. Forced laboring is what they did best. Heard the game club's short videos are getting viral, so I was asked to copy them, but after I told them the cost, they simply said it is too expensive and forced me to come up with a solution. And by the way, to put down the cost, the office will no longer be rented. Just work at your homes. Oh, and also, don't use the warehouse. Put those stuff in your house. I wouldn't pay those fees too, obviously. In this world, if you don't pay, you are not the customer. As for the salary for the VTuber actors, they said it was too high for a fixed amount. So they started calculating hourly, with 1,000 yen per hour. Lowering the cost, If you raise funds via a company, you will get into trouble like these. Be careful.
Not long after him taking his stance and taking shots at the said investment firm, he posted some new tweets, in which he directly calls out Gumi's name and claims that he was threatened by them to delete the tweets. Before we continue with the topic, let's take a look at what Gumi is. Gumi Inc. is a company located in Tokyo, Japan, that focuses on developing mobile games, as well as investing in extended reality, which is VR and AR related business, via its investment firm Gumi Ventures. In short, after being on IPO, Gumi were having a sluggish growth, even dwindling in stocks. They were also being distrusted by the market due to alleged private embezzlement of subsidiaries, and has continued to fall in the stock market, as well as keep on firing employees. You can have a look at its history on Wiki. Gumi, during these times, have invested quite a hefty amount into the VTuber market. According to Crunchbase, we can see what Gumi have invested into, which includes Activ8, Inc, the company of React, VIII Inc, the company of Yusegun, Corp, which you know the one, Brave Group, previously known as Unlimited, the Game Club Projects company, and Motoyasu's Unison Knife. Over the past few years, a total of over 15.4 million USD has been invested in Activ8, of which 5.4 million USD were invested by Gumi. Suffice to say, they have a lot of cards in their hands. Looking in one of their financial statements in 2018, we can see how Gumi thinks of the VTuber market.
VTuber is a business with a considerably higher profit margin than existing YouTubers in terms of business model. In the case of existing YouTubers, since the IP belongs to the person himself, so the income that comes back to the company, in the case of advertising, is about a 20%-80% split, where 80% goes to the YouTubers themselves. On the other hand, here the IP belongs to the company, so almost 100% of the income belongs to the company and the IP source. As for secondary use, in the case of existing YouTubers, it is limited to goods such as t-shirts, But in the case of virtual YouTubers, in addition to this, there is a wide range of possibilities such as anime, games, in-game collaborations and goods such as figurines. Overseas expansion will be okay if you change the actors.
Oh, so that's what they are thinking. Hats off to them for recognizing the VTuber market that early. However, their point of view, where VTubers were merely a product, a lucrative IP that can bring in thousands if not millions of money, aren't going to be approved by the majority of the audience, isn't it? I know from their view, this completely makes sense, as this type of business model can net them the most in terms of profit. However, there is after all a separation in perception between us as the audience and them as the businessman, no matter the circumstances. From Motoyasu's tweet, we can see that Gumi have pressured reduce their payment to VTuber actors down to 1,000 yen per hour, and from the stance they have taken in the financial statements, it is not hard and even reasonable to believe that they have actually done this. 1,000 yen was around $9.6 US, which if you compare to the rest of the world, is not that bad. However, when compared to Japan itself, it does not look good either. 1,000 yen is in fact lower than Tokyo's minimum salary, where Unison Life is located, and are still relatively close to Japan's average, which is 902 yen. Work exploits in the age of social media, as the ones who got exploited can have more means to express their experience, are more prone to being exposed in most cases. Nozomi Kasuga as the core actress behind the sensational Kizuna Ai project. People have been paying attention to her Twitter, especially after the project initiated. However, in general, Nozomi's tweets were kind of tame, and sometimes even trying to be a peacemaker and calming the fans. Even at tweets of her cussing her drop, she still did not point any fingers specifically towards anybody. She knows that people know she was the actress behind Kizuna Ai, and she also knows that people have been trying to help to justify her effort. Even after the incident and being officially recognized by the company, she still does not really post tweets about the past, and even goes so far as to delete all tweets prior to her recognition. If she did not complain on Twitter, it means that she has not been treated unfairly, right? Both Activ8 and Nozomi had not mentioned about any form of suppression from Gumi, and I would still believe that they actually have no work exploitation. However, judging from the track record of Takeshi, Yuichi, and Gumi, I'm still worried about the employees working at Activ8, especially Nozomi, with the evidence from the mouth of a well-reputed CEO who actually experienced this from Gumi. I doubt that having a company where its decisions were made based off bad sources can be productive, or at least non-destructive for the future of Activ8. Either way, as now the company is trying to resolve the situation and are opening communication channels to increase the transparency of the company, Nozomi's future is looking better. Hopefully, Ms. Nozomi will not be involved in such a mess again. Kizuna Ai, the doppelganger incident, and the raging crowd have taught not only us, the company, but also the industry in general, a lesson on what to do and what not to do. The essence of VTubers, their appeal, their attractiveness, their profitability, were all being reconsidered in this incident, and quite frankly, I don't think there will be another incident that will be as impactful as this one. Kizuna Ai and the company have promised to do better, and great leaps have been made, of which me and a lot of the audience can appreciate. As the scene continues to grow, there will be more and more things that need us to keep an eye out for. For us all, this is more than just a relic of the past, but rather is a warning to us all for what the future can be. Maybe it's lurking under the table, or are already blatantly displaying in front of our eyes. Anyways, I hope you can still have fun watching VTubers and not repelled by these outlier cases. These are after all isolated cases that occurs few and far between, at least from what we can observe. Next time when you watch any VTubers, maybe ask yourself this question: what do VTubers mean to you?